Welcome to the very first episode of Factual Gamer, your trusted gaming news source in video format. I am your host, Factual Gamer, and I aim to bring you all the latest, most relevant news coming out of the gaming world. No opinions, just the facts. So let's get right to it. On February 9, BioWare Austin announced the cancellation of Shadow Realms. Jeff Hickman, the general manager at BioWare Austin, issued a statement on the game's official website explaining what the team behind the development of the game will be doing after the cancellation, but there was no actual information on why the game was cancelled. Hickman says that the Austin BioWare studio will focus on other projects and also produce additional content for Dragon Age Inquisition and Star Wars: The Old Republic. Shadow Realms was to be an action role-playing game with both single-player and cooperative multiplayer modes set on a modern-day Earth and a parallel world called Embra. Also on February 9, Jonathan Blow, the creator of Braid, told the site Engadget that he had to go into debt to finance his new game, The Witness. Blow had spent $200,000 to create Braid, and although I can't find the exact number, it is well known that he made over $1 million in sales shortly after the game's release back in 2008. Blow said in 2012 that he was channeling all the money he had made from Braid into his next project. Due to the new generation of consoles shifting attention away from the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, two of the main platforms for the game, the sales of Braid have declined to the point that it no longer has enough revenue to single-handedly support the development of The Witness. Since the start of the development in 2009, the game has ballooned in size from 8 hours of gameplay to an estimated 25 to 40 hours. The team is comprised of 9 full-time members and 8 additional contributors. Recently, the team finished their work on the 677 puzzles that compose the game. The Witness has no official release date, but it is expected this year. On February 10, Peter Molyneux admitted that he overpromised on the features of his new game, Goddess. The development of the game, in Steam's early access since September 2013, has missed the announced release date, and a source with self-proclaimed intimate knowledge of the project called it a failure and stated that the Kickstarter will not be fulfilled and that the team working on the project either quit their jobs or has been moved to another project. Molyneux has also admitted to not fulfilling the stretch goals, saying, and I quote, "I take the point that some of the pledges should have been met, and that we should have taken the time to work on them." Just today, the British newspaper The Guardian said that Molyneux handed over control of the development to a new designer called Konrad Nazinski. Molyneux told The Guardian that he would be stepping away from the press, and that this interview would be his last. However, The Guardian found out just before the interview that the site Rock Paper Shotgun had also interviewed Peter Molyneux the day before, and that he apparently had also told them he would no longer be speaking to the press. It seems, however, there was also a second site which had also interviewed the game designer on the same afternoon. Goddess is a god game in the same tradition set by Molyneux himself many years before with Populous. Although the game was in fact released for iOS and Android, the PC game is still nowhere to be seen. It's also important to remember that his previous mobile game, Curiosity, had a mysterious endgame prize for the single gamer who finished tapping away the last remaining cube in the game. The prize was the control of the world of Goddess over all other players, and also a portion of the revenues made by the game. Up to this moment, the winner Brian Henderson had not received his prize. Also on the 10th of February, for the first time in its history, Bethesda announced it will have its own conference at this year's E3. Since no details are known about the actual content of this conference, gamers can only hope that a sequel to their own personal Bethesda favorite will be announced. On the same day, the German League of Legends team Meet Your Makers announced it had fired their manager Sebastian Falle-Rotterdam after it was revealed that he threatened one of the players to prevent him from quitting the team. The threat, aimed at player Marcin Kowalski, consisted of making sure that the player's mother would lose her house. It is not yet known if Walski has since left the team. The team has been fined to the tune of €5,000 for violation of League of Legends Championship Series rules, and the now former manager Sebastian Falle-Rotterdam has been banned indefinitely from competitions in the Championship Series as a manager or any other position. And also on February 10, the BAFTA, British Academy of Film and Television Arts, announced the nominees for its British Academy Games Awards. The most nominated game is Alien Isolation with 6 nominations, followed by Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor with 4. Both games are up for a Best Game Award, together with Destiny, Dragon Age Inquisition, Mario Kart 8 and Monument Valley. The award ceremony will be held on March 12th. On February 11th, the gaming news site Kotaku learned of layoffs at the now-named Daybreak Game Company, formerly known as Sony Online Studios before it was sold last week. The studio is behind the development of EverQuest and more recently the zombie apocalypse survival game H1Z1. Apparently, after the sale of the company to a New York-based management firm, the employees were informed the company would be laying people off to become profitable. According to a statement sent to Kotaku by the Daybreak Game Company management, the layoffs will happen at both its locations in San Diego and Austin, but this restructuring will have no impact on the games currently under development. On the same day, a new game studio called Playtonic Games, composed of 6 former employees of Rare, announced that even though still in early development, they are creating a spiritual successor for Banjo-Kazooie, codenamed Project Yooka-Laylee. The game is aimed at PCs and there is no release date as of yet. Yesterday, Ubisoft released its sales figures for the third quarter of 2014-2015. Sales came to a total of 809.7 million euros. This number is higher than the estimated target of 730 million euros. The good result was assisted by the good performance of titles such as Assassin's Creed Unity, Far Cry 4 and The Crew, which sold 10 million, 7 million and 2 million units respectively since launch. Just Dance 4 also sold 4 million units, and Watch Dogs managed to rake up 10 million units sold since release. Also yesterday, Kendra Albert from the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the non-profit organization dealing with civil liberties in the digital world, announced that she will spearhead an effort to create an exception in the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, or DMCA for short, to allow both game enthusiasts and preservationists to keep abandoned games alive by running multiplayer servers or eliminating authentication mechanisms without fear of legal repercussions. The exemption proposed would cover games in which single or multiplayer play is no longer possible, either because the game's developers have shut down the servers or simply abandoned them. However, this effort does not cover MMOs with persistent worlds. And to conclude, the latest World of Warcraft charity campaign has come to an end, with players of the MMO raising almost $2 million, or 1.9 million to be more precise, to help fight Ebola in Africa. The donations were gathered by the sales of an in-game pet, Argy, a blue goat, which was available for $10 until the end of last December. All the money gathered from the sales will be given to the Red Cross. And that's the news portion of the show. And now we have the video game releases for the following days and week. Still today, February 13, we have The Escapists for PC and Xbox One, Lucius 2 for PC, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate for 3DS, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D for the 3DS. On February 17, next Tuesday, the releases are The Order 1886 for PS4, Total War Attila for PC, Morningstar Descent to Deadrock for PC, Dead or Alive 5 Last Round for Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS4 and PS3, Trivial Pursuit Live for Xbox 360, and Paparazzi for Wii U. The following day, on February 18, Wednesday, Idle Hands for the PC is being released, and then on the 19th of February, Thursday, we have X-Cave for 3DS, Adventure Bar Story for 3DS, Flap Flap for 3DS, Agorest Generations of War 2 for PC, Medieval Engineers for PC, Man of War Assault Squad 2 Iron Fist for PC, Camera Obscura for PC, and Rescue Team for PC as well. And that's all. I hope you enjoyed the very first episode of Factual Gamer, and I do hope it was informative and factual as I intended it to be. If you have any suggestions on what else this show should contain, or if there is some other type of information or facts I should also be covering, please let me know either by commenting below or sending a message. Or if you have any tips or news you think merit coverage, let me know something during the week leading up to a new video. And if you did enjoy the video, please subscribe, share with your friends, and like the page on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. Only with enough subscribers will the show move to a daily schedule instead of weekly. And that would be amazing. That's a fact. I'm the Factual Gamer. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back next Friday.